What if I told you one car redefined an entire generation of supercars, born from fire, shaped like a fighter jet, and louder than thunder? The Lamborghini Aventador wasn't just fast, it was unforgettable. From V12 Fury to digital fame, this bull didn't follow trends. It crushed them. This is the full story of the beast that refused to go quiet. Welcome to Car Heritage. What if I told you that one of the most legendary supercars of the 21st century was born with a bang so loud, it silenced all its rivals? The year was 2011. The automotive world had grown used to fast cars. Ferrari had its prancing horses. Bugatti had shattered speed records. Even McLaren was back in the game. But Lamborghini, it was time for a rebirth. And they didn't just make a new car. They unleashed a beast, a bull, a storm. Its name, Aventador. At the Geneva Motor Show, all eyes locked on a shape that looked like it was carved from a fighter jet. Sharp angles, menacing lines, scissor doors that opened like wings ready for battle. But what really stunned the crowd wasn't the design. It was the announcement. A brand new 6.5-liter V12 engine, capable of pushing out 700 horsepower. No turbos, no tricks, just raw Italian power. The Aventador LP 700-4 was born, and it promised 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 2.9 seconds. That's not just quick. That's spaceship-level acceleration. But the story goes deeper. Lamborghini named the Aventador after a brave Spanish fighting bull that fought in Zaragoza in 1993. Known for its courage and aggression, it was the perfect name for a machine that wasn't just fast. It was fearless. This car wasn't built for the quiet type. It was built to wake up neighborhoods, steal spotlights, and terrify racetracks. People instantly knew this wasn't just another Lambo. It was the start of a new era, an era where Lamborghini went from being loud and wild to also being seriously advanced. The Aventador wasn't just a follow-up to the Murcielago. It was a revolution in carbon fiber, speed, and style. And this was only the beginning. Lamborghini has always been about the V12. It's the brand's heartbeat. But by 2010, that old heart was aging. The Murcielago's engine had roots going all the way back to the 1960s. It was powerful, yes, but heavy and thirsty. Lamborghini needed something new, something that could bring their V12 cars into the future without losing the magic. And that's where the Aventador came in. For the first time in over 40 years, Lamborghini designed an all-new V12 engine from scratch. This wasn't just a tweak or an upgrade. This was a clean slate. The result was a 6.5-liter monster that screamed all the way to 8,500 RPM and produced 700 horsepower with 0 turbos. Naturally aspirated, pure and untamed. It was an engine that honored the past but roared into the future. Paired with this powerhouse was something unexpected, a single-clutch ISR, independent shifting rods transmission. Critics called it old school, even jerky, but Lamborghini didn't care. They wanted drama. They wanted aggression. Every gear shift felt like a punch, and that was exactly the point. Underneath, the Aventador sat on a carbon fiber monocoque chassis, ultra-light, ultra-strong. Combined with all-wheel drive and active suspension, the Aventador wasn't just loud and fast, it was smart, sharp, engineered like a jet fighter with bullhorns. The Aventador showed the world that Lamborghini wasn't just playing catch-up, they were setting the pace. Reinventing the V12 wasn't a gamble, it was a statement. The bull wasn't going extinct. It was evolving. Underneath the Aventador's wild design lived a quiet revolution: carbon fiber. For the first time in a production Lamborghini, the entire structure of the car was built around a carbon fiber monocoque. This wasn't just some flashy gimmick. It was a game changer. A monocoque is like a race car's skeleton, light but insanely strong. It gave the Aventador the perfect balance of stiffness and weight reduction. Compared to the Murcielago, this meant better handling, faster reactions, and sharper cornering. Every twist of the steering wheel felt like you were wired into the road. Building this kind of tech wasn't easy. Most automakers outsourced carbon fiber production, not Lamborghini. They created their own in-house lab in Sant'Agata, Advanced Composites Structures Laboratory. There, engineers crafted the monocoque like art, woven, baked, and cured with surgical precision. This wasn't just about performance. It was about identity. The Aventador wasn't meant to be just another fast car. It was a technical showcase, a warning shot to the rest of the supercar world. Lamborghini could innovate too. Even the suspension system was motorsport-inspired. The pushrod suspension, borrowed from Formula One, allowed the Aventador to hug the road with confidence, while the rear dynamic steering gave it agility at both low and high speeds. With this, Lamborghini proved they weren't just making bulls that bellowed. They were building machines that could dance. The Aventador wasn't just about brute force. It was precision wrapped in chaos. The LP 700-4. The first Aventador the world got to touch, hear, and fear. LP stood for Longitudinale Posteriore, referencing the mid-rear engine layout. 700 was the horsepower count, and 4 signified all-wheel drive. But behind that name was a car that made jaws drop. From the moment you started it up, the Aventador roared like an animal uncaged. The naturally aspirated V12 didn't whisper. It screamed. Acceleration was violent, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 2.9 seconds. Top speed? 350 kilometers per hour. On paper, it matched hypercars. On the road, it scared them. And the design? It was more spaceship than supercar. Lamborghini's head of design, Filippo Perini, sculpted something straight out of sci-fi. Sharp creases, Y-shaped LED lights, and a stance that said, "Move or be moved." The scissor doors added theater, but the body wasn't just for looks. It was built for aerodynamics, slicing through air like a jet. Inside, the cockpit was fighter jet inspired. A digital TFT display replaced analog dials. A red flip switch, like a missile launch button, guarded the engine start. Every drive felt like a mission, and the world noticed. Orders flooded in. Celebrities lined up. YouTubers made careers, filming cold starts and rev battles. The LP 700-4 wasn't just a car. It was a phenomenon. This was the car that redefined Lamborghini for a new generation. Loud, fast, fearless, but also modern, refined, and advanced. The Aventador LP 704 wasn't a replacement. It was a revolution on wheels. In 2013, Lamborghini did something daring. They took the top off the Aventador. But this wasn't just a convertible for cruising under palm trees. This was the Aventador Roadster, a storm with no ceiling. Lamborghini engineers had a mission: remove the roof without removing the madness. No easy task. The result was a two-piece carbon fiber roof that weighed just 6 kilograms each, stashed neatly in the front trunk. It wasn't automated like most convertibles. You had to remove it by hand. But that was the point. It added a sense of drama, like prepping a beast before battle. Once off, the cockpit transformed. Suddenly, that V12 roar wasn't behind you. It was above you, around you, inside you. Lamborghini reinforced the chassis to keep performance tight, and surprisingly, the Roadster lost nothing. It still did 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3 seconds flat, and reached a screaming top speed of 350 kilometers per hour. And yet, the experience felt even more alive. Every tunnel became a concert hall. Every gear shift echoed like thunder. Design-wise, it was drop-dead gorgeous. A rear pillar redesign improved airflow and cooled the engine bay, while the new rear engine cover, made of hexagonal glass panels, gave a view of the V12 heart, like staring into the lair of a dragon. The Aventador Roadster wasn't just for attention seekers, though it grabbed plenty. It was for those who wanted Lamborghini unfiltered, pure air, pure sound, pure emotion. It was raw elegance at 350 kilometers per hour, and for many, it became the ultimate Aventador experience. If the base Aventador was thunder, the special editions were lightning. Lamborghini didn't just stick with one formula. They turned the Aventador into a canvas of madness, unleashing some of the wildest cars ever built. First came the Aventador J in 2012, a one-off, roofless, windowless monster, a speed demon designed for the track and sold within hours. Then came the LP 720-450 degree Anniversario, celebrating 50 years of Lamborghini with sharper aero and more power. But that was just the warm-up. In 2015, the Aventador SV Super Veloce landed. Lighter, faster, angrier. With 750 horsepower, a huge rear wing, and stripped-down interior, it was built for track warriors. Its lap times were brutal, its styling savage. But Lamborghini wasn't done. Enter SVJ, the Super Veloce Yoda, in 2018. It broke the Nürburgring record for production cars. With 770 horsepower, active aero, ALA 2.0, and racing pedigree, it wasn't just fast, it was precise. A beast with brains. And then there was the Veneno, a razor-sharp, spaceship-like hypercar built for Lamborghini's 50th anniversary. Only a few were made. It looked like a Batmobile, bred with a fighter jet. People didn't know whether to drive it or hang it in a museum. Each edition pushed the Aventador's limits. More speed, less weight, crazier styling. Lamborghini turned the Aventador into a playground of possibilities. And each version was a love letter to chaos, performance, and art. It didn't take long for the Aventador to leave the racetrack and crash into pop culture. Unlike supercars of the past, hidden away in private garages, the Aventador was everywhere. Music videos, Instagram reels, Hollywood films, viral YouTube clips. It was the new face of speed and style. Rappers, influencers, and tech millionaires wanted one, not just for the power, but for the statement. Drake drove one, Kanye put one in his music video, and YouTubers built entire channels, filming cold starts, tunnel blasts, and city drifts. The Aventador wasn't just a supercar, it was a celebrity. It became a rolling symbol of success. Lamborghini's strategy had shifted. They weren't selling engineering alone. They were selling emotion, image, dreams. And the Aventador became the ultimate flex. Even kids recognized it. Gamers raced it in Forza Horizon and Need for Speed. Toy stores sold die-cast versions. It became the poster car for Gen Z, just like the Countach was for kids in the 80s. But this wasn't all fluff. Underneath the fame, the Aventador still had bite. It wasn't easy to drive. It didn't pamper. It demanded respect. And that made it even cooler. In a world of silent electric cars and polite hybrids, the Aventador growled and screamed its way into legend. It wasn't just part of pop culture. it was culture. Behind the loud engine and wild design was something Lamborghini didn't always get credit for: serious tech. The Aventador wasn't just fast, it was smart. Very smart. One of the standout innovations was ALA, Aerodynamica Lamborghini Attiva. Debuting with the SVJ, this active aero system adjusted flaps in milliseconds, creating downforce or reducing drag depending on the driving situation. It was like having wings that thought for you. All-wheel drive came standard, giving the Aventador brutal grip on all surfaces. Whether you were launching from a stoplight or attacking corners at 200 kilometers per hour, the car stuck to the road like it was glued. In later models, rear-wheel steering was added, helping the Aventador feel agile in tight spaces while staying rock-solid at high speeds. The adaptive magneto-rheological suspension read the road in real time, adjusting damping to keep the ride tight but not punishing. And the electronic brain behind it all, the Lamborghini Dinamica Veicolo Attiva, constantly balanced traction, torque, and stability. This wasn't just a brute. It was a computer-controlled, carbon-clad weapon. Lamborghini knew that raw power was no longer enough. You had to control it. The Aventador's tech suite made it not just a better car, but a safer, sharper, and more drivable one. This bull didn't just charge. It calculated. By the mid-2010s, the hypercar scene exploded. Ferrari had the LaFerrari. McLaren launched the P1. Bugatti still ruled top speed with the Chiron. In a tech-heavy battlefield, could the Aventador compete? Lamborghini's answer wasn't just numbers. It was attitude. The Aventador SVJ didn't just fight. It set the Nürburgring lap record with a blistering 644. It didn't need hybrid boosts or turbo silence. Its naturally aspirated V12 screamed louder, felt raw, and stole more hearts. Park an Aventador next to a Bugatti or McLaren, and it still drew the crowd. It had presence. An emotional punch no spreadsheet could measure. Lamborghini didn't chase trends. They doubled down on what made them special: drama, sound, soul. In a world shifting to muted efficiency, the Aventador remained loud, flawed, brilliant, and proudly rebellious. The Aventador's soul was its V12. No modern car sang like it. Every startup roared like thunder. Every tunnel became a concert hall. The sound wasn't just noise. It was theater, emotion, rebellion. Lamborghini didn't mute this beast. They engineered every intake, every exhaust pipe to deliver chills. Active flaps opened under pressure, letting the full growl escape. Downshifts crackled. Revs spat flames. Other brands chased silence. Lamborghini chased sensation. You didn't just hear the Aventador. You felt it in your bones. And that's what made it unforgettable. Its voice wasn't background music. It was a warning, a signature, a battle cry. When V12s are gone, the memory won't be of speed or specs. It'll be the sound, the thunder, the rage. The Aventador didn't just go fast. It howled. In 2021, Lamborghini said goodbye with fire. The Aventador Ultimae, the final evolution. 780 horsepower, 2.8 seconds to 100. A farewell tuned to perfection. It wasn't about breaking new ground. It was about honoring everything the Aventador stood for. The power of the SVJ, the elegance of the S, the attitude of a rock star taking a final bow. No hybrids, no silence, just a raw, naturally aspirated V12, the last of its kind. Production was limited. Demand was not. It was more than a car. It was a time capsule, a tribute to noise, chaos, beauty, and rebellion. A reminder of a time when driving stirred your soul, the Ultimae didn't end the story quietly. It slammed the door, lit the sky, and left smoke in its wake. The Aventador wasn't just a street icon. It conquered the digital world. Chrome wraps, anime decals, gold-plated V12s in Dubai. It became the most Instagrammed Lamborghini ever. Owners turned them into art pieces. TikTokers chased flames. YouTubers built empires on cold starts and rev battles. It was everywhere. Viral, loud, unforgettable. Then came NFTs. Lamborghini sold Aventador-inspired digital art tied to real cars, a wild step into Web 3. Gamers raced it in Forza and Need for Speed. Kids bought diecasts. Creators raced to be seen with it. While other brands tried to be cool, the Aventador was already a meme, a masterpiece, a digital rock star. It wasn't just a supercar anymore. It was a movement. When the Aventador launched in 2011, no one imagined it would redefine Lamborghini. But it did. And more. It preserved the V12 in a hybrid era, pioneered carbon monocoques, thrived in pop culture. It turned driving into theater and cars into dreams. Over 11,000 units sold, the most successful V12 Lambo ever. But numbers miss the point. Its real impact? Cultural, emotional, eternal. The Aventador wasn't just fast, it was fearless, loud, rebellious. It connected Lamborghini's past with its digital, hybrid future. As we enter a quieter era, the Aventador stands as a roaring reminder of what cars once were and what they meant to feel like.